On today's DNVR Broncos episode, we are talking about the offense and the defense, and we're breaking down the Colts. What happens if Riley Moss can't play? Who do the Broncos replace him with? And then who should be the Broncos running back? How should the team handle that moving forward? Todd's diving into Colts film to break down how the Broncos beat the Colts, and it all starts now. The Broncos got mossed in a good way and a concerning way. We're going to break it down on the DNVR Broncos podcast, live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your local Front Range Toyota stores. We are inside the DNVR bar, presented by Bet365. Use that code DNVR365 when you sign up. Place a $5 bet and get $150 in bonus bets. Fellas, sitting with Super Bowl 50 champ Todd Davis, Henry Chisholm. We got super producer Kale behind the camera today. And yours superfood producer Kale. Does he eat a lot of superfood?
Oh, Kale's like a superfood.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh,
that's a way to spin it. I like that, Todd. We're getting in our creative bag today, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Let's do it.
Man, and you got the Broncos hat on. You got the Broncos jacket on. Are those Broncos sweats as well?
No, and I told Hank come up the stairs, like, I wore the hat because it's just blue, and I thought nobody would see it, so they won't be able to, like, I'm a fanboy today.
You
but
didn't want to be
saying?
outed for wearing a Broncos hat
I thought
a Broncos coat on a Broncos show as a former Broncos player, as a former Broncos coach?
It's a lot of Broncos.
Yeah, it's a lot of Broncos. I think it's okay to lean into it, Todd.
All right, sounds good. Let's do it. Creative leaning into the Broncos.
You know, you've only had a media credential once, I think, right? Last training camp, we got you one.
Yeah.
And they were like, the Broncos were like, can you send us a picture of Todd? Yeah. We don't want to use a player one. So I got a very nice one from you. I believe Jordan Norwood took the photo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Norwood photography.
Former Bronco, but it wasn't, you were not wearing Broncos gear. I sent it to him. It was a great headshot. And you show up and they're just like, oh yeah, here's his credential with, he's just in a Broncos uniform. I'm like, we doing all that work for nothing? What? So yeah, I like that you're rocking the Broncos stuff.
Let's do it.
My first, because sometimes people ask like, why aren't you guys rocking the orange and blue? And my first month on the job, I wore a Broncos belt. And the Broncos, I only wore it one day actually, but it was in the first month. That was shut down immediately.
Yes.
By the Broncos, by back then BSN.
Oh yeah.
So
They wouldn't let you wear it?
Oh no.
Or they didn't want you to wear it?
Oh no.
Why?
If you're a media member, you can't be doing that. And we at our company lean in more to like the fan side than any media. And some media crushes us for it, but it's more fun to be a fan here, and that's our logo, and that's kind of what we go for. So that's a little behind the scenes.
Yes.
There is some interesting talked about boundaries, I guess, when it comes to this stuff.
So I have to wear more Broncos gear because I'm the only one that can wear it?
Yes, you have to balance it out.
But if I give you guys gear, does that count? It still counts as you wearing it, maybe?
I'll wear a
Just
hoodie.
wear it at home. Yeah.
It's silly.
I got some Nuggets gear yesterday, and I was told what I did is weird, so I need some more opinions. So they won the championship like 18 months ago, and now all those championship shirts are on sale. So like the black ones where it says like NBA Championship Gold, they're awesome, and they're only $9. So I got 5 of them
of the exact same shirt.
Yeah.
Of the same shirt?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Because like I'm probably gonna wear. I will love that championship until the day I die. So if I get 5 shirts, say I treat them well and they each last 5 years, in 25 years I'm still gonna be out of shirts. So you might as well just load up.
Just get different shirts.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Man, you can't do that. And the thing about shirts is if you just leave them sitting in a drawer, they start to smell like a drawer.
Yeah.
It doesn't, you know what I'm saying? It's not fresh anymore. So by the time you put that second shirt on, the rest of them are just, they're done.
Sounds like I made a mistake.
Yeah, I think
5 of the same's a lot.
The only way it's not a mistake is if you're going to commit to the Steve Jobs attire, where you buy one thing for the top, one thing for the bottom, and that's all you wear. But it's different every day. It's like not the same shirt.
Yeah.
But so I think you should kind of go
like
that
halfway there.
I think
I've
you should
got
go
like
that
6
direction.
Nike hoodies that are all the exact same. I get all these pants from H&M that are basically the same. I've got like a few pairs of white shoes, rotation of hats.
So
maybe I'm just trending that way.
Rock with the same shirt.
Maybe by like this time next year, I'll just wear the exact same Nuggets championship shirt every day.
Wow.
And it's a good one.
And I bet they'll be making those shirts in 20 years too. Like I bet you
But then
can
they're
find
going to
one.
be trendy throwback like.
And you want an original.
And they're going to be like $150. Look this is what the people wore back in the day. They're vintage. Yeah. Maybe I'll sell mine.
You're going to sell it.
Maybe if they're worth enough.
But I thought the whole point was to have it for 25 years and
I mean, everybody has a number. Like, if this turns out to be the only Nuggets championship, then those shirts could be pretty valuable.
Oh man, let's hope that's not the case.
Let's
hope there's many more editions of that. Just like the Broncos, don't just have one championship; they've got 3 of them. And we found out, man, if the Broncos are going to make a run in the playoffs, they're going to need Riley Moss. We found that out the hard way. Of course, a couple weeks ago, Riley Moss goes out in the Raiders game in what looked to be a very scary injury. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if it was season-ending. Turns out it was not. He has an MCL injury. Did not play in last week's game, and yikes. Did we find out how valuable Riley Moss is to the team? Is he the most undervalued player on the team? Is that what we found out?
Easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think, we knew he was playing at a high level and really elite, getting a lot of targets, playing across from Pat Surtain. But it wasn't until he wasn't out there on the field that we saw just how bad it could be if Moss isn't present.
Yeah. Crumble Cookies had a funny comment. Mostly because his account name is Crumble Cookies.
Mm-hmm.
He said, if I ever run into Levi, it's on site, which is a crazy thing to say from a cookie company.
Does that mean a fight?
Yeah.
Yes, Zach, that means a fight.
I've never heard it presented that way, but
you should try it.
I could
Zach,
guess
you've
it.
never heard the term on site.
No,
I would have guessed like that means you have to be on site, like you got to
Be present.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as I see you, as soon as you are present, it's a fight.
Wow, between a cookie company and Levi Wallace.
Yeah,
That's
I like
fascinating.
That one. That's a fun one.
Man, I mean, the cookies are pretty good. I don't think that's a real crumble cookie.
No, they wouldn't be threatening people. I mean, you need Riley Moss. He's playing really well. I think if you were just to watch like the catches he gives up, even those aren't that bad because he's almost always right there. I don't know the numbers. I know that Pat allows like the fewest yards after the catch of any cornerback in the league. I'd imagine Riley's in that same boat. So it's not just that he's in good coverage. It's also you make those tackles and it prevents big plays. Whereas Levi, again, it's got to be tough to come in off the bench for the first time. Like he hasn't played football in like a year in like a real NFL game. To come in and just jump right in there. It would be tricky, but also you can't just be giving up. Like he got torched over and over and over and over and over. So they gotta figure something else out.
I see why Levi was the backup. Compared to the rest of the room, you have Damarri Mathis, who has not played much in the past couple of years. You have Kris Abrams-Draine, who literally had played 0 defensive special team snaps before last week, and then you have a vet in Levi Wallace who has played a lot. So I totally see when you need someone to step in, when another guy gets injured, why you turn to the vet. The issue was they should have made a change after like the first quarter, after the second quarter, definitely by halftime. The fact that it took till in the fourth quarter when you're really making moves, I think was just a little reluctant or a little not the best coaching there inside a game. But now they have a week. They have 2 weeks to think about their next move. And there has to be a different move made, right? Right? Let's talk about that after I give a shout out to our friends over at Live Well, where if you want to live well, you can check out our friends over at Live Well. where they have 25 convenient Colorado locations, dispensaries with premium selection and expert service that await you, and their knowledgeable, supportive staff are there to help you on your journey. Visit a Live Well dispensary to learn more about their wide selection of cannabis, flower, edibles, concentrates, and more. And they proudly offer a price match guarantee, ensuring you get the best value by matching local competitors' prices on eligible products. And another kicker to go to Live Well, they're going to give you 25% off in store. If you mention the code DNVR25, you're going to get 25% off one regular priced item. Restrictions apply. Henry, what are you using that 25% off one item?
Marijuana.
Wow, or cannabis, yeah. That's a good one. And again, 25 convenient locations that you can use that code DNVR25 in store to receive 25% off. Make sure to check them out if you're in the cannabis or marijuana search.
Plenty of names.
Yes, and shout out to our friends over at Verizon. 'Tis the season to switch to Verizon. Right now, you can get a $200 Verizon gift card when you switch and purchase a select phone on select unlimited plans. So start the holidays off right with a great network and use the gift card to start checking other great tech gifts off your list like smartwatches, tablets, headphones, and more. Also, be on a lookout very soon for a ticket giveaway to a Denver Broncos game courtesy of Verizon for this holiday season. Switch now and get $200, the $200 gift card only at Verizon. The $200 Verizon e-gift card will be sent within 8 weeks, requires device purchase payment, minimal retail price of $799.99, and a port in with new smartphone line on postpaid Unlimited Plus or Unlimited Ultimate plan required.
Shout out to presenting sponsor Bet365. Use that code DNVR365 when you sign up to get $150 in bonus bets. Guys, you want the good news or bad news when it comes to Riley Moss first?
Let's go bad news.
Let's go bad news. I like that, Henry. Let's get that out of the way. Yesterday, the Broncos worked out veteran cornerback Jerry Jacobs. And why that's bad news is that typically doesn't point well if someone's injured at the position where they bring in someone to work out for. It means maybe they still need a week or two. The good news, they didn't sign him, so maybe they aren't desperate for a cornerback, and that helped there. And the really good news is, and we've known this for a couple of weeks now, Riley Moss was not placed on injured reserve. That indicates the Broncos don't think he's going to be out for an entire month, where if you're placed on IR, you have to miss 4 games if you're on IR. Broncos had the bye week in there too, so that adds to it. So if Riley Moss, by not putting him on IR, you'd think that, man, he could be back one of these weeks. By working out a cornerback yesterday, it might point to, the Broncos still need a week for him to be back. So Broncos are back at practice tomorrow. They were in the building yesterday. They practice tomorrow. We'll find out a good sense of if Riley Moss is back tomorrow or not. But if he's not back for this week, because if he's back, it's as easy as he's the starting cornerback opposite Pat Surtain. If he's not back, what do the Broncos do this week?
If he's not back, I think your rookie gets a lot of work. Abrams-Draine is probably going to play a lot and have to, get his feet wet. I thought, coming in for Levi Wallace last week, he did a pretty good job. So I like to see more of him. I thought he was talented in training camp and really showed, that he deserved to be on the team and make the squad. So hopefully he can play really well on Sunday. And then as far as them working somebody out, sometimes it does mean that he needs more time. And even with this staff, sometimes they work guys out like just in case or down the line,
Next week or
like they don't need him now, but at some point if they do need him, they know that there's a talented guy that's at home, that he's been working out, he's in shape, and we can call on him if we need him. So I think it'll be interesting to see what happens at practice tomorrow, but hopefully Riley is practicing.
Yeah. I had an idea yesterday for if Riley isn't here that me and Todd talked about a little bit. And basically it's this. What if you go with Jaquan with the idea being that...
At outside corner.
Yeah, and ideally... So typically you talk about, like, does Pat play only on the left side, only on the right side? Does he follow a receiver? What if you said in our base defense, we play Jaquan on the short side of the field? Like every down, ball's on the right hash mark, then he's on the right side where there's less space to cover. It makes it more similar to where he's been playing. You play a bunch of put him in flat zone situations where it's like cover 6 or cover 2, meaning that there's safety over the top who handles the deep stuff. He's in there kind of doing similar things to what he does in the slot for the most part. What do you think of that, Todd?
I think that's going to, change the entire defense because they so many bodies have to rotate for him to be able to move outside. And that short side of the field is usually where the best receiver goes. That's where the X goes. So he's going to be playing one-on-one versus a team's best receiver. And usually those X receivers don't run the short routes. They're running the vertical routes, the comebacks, the 15-yard digs. They're running all the routes that are tough to cover. So I think that it would hurt the team if he had to play outside and move him. There's so many other pieces they have to change because he's moving outside.
Well, what about this? I think you might be not giving Jaquan enough credit. I don't think you need to handicap him and give him all this help. I think you could just straight up move him outside 4 times that you're in base. And I think it's a lot more difficult for an outside cornerback to move inside in the slot because now you don't just have to worry about like the sideline and keeping everything in front of you. You got to worry about both sides plus behind you. And I think in this game, you might be playing more base in this game than you will in any game this year because this game is Todd will get to in the breakdown. It's about stopping Jonathan Taylor on the ground and Anthony Richardson on the ground, maybe just as much through the air. So I'm okay when you're in base. Jaquan's a good enough player that you can move him on the outside. It's Pat and Jaquan. And then I think when you do go to sub packages and Jaquan's in the slot, which definitely will happen this week as well, then I'm turning to Kris Abrams-Draine. And it's tough saying that with a cornerback that you're going to go with a rookie playing in his second career NFL game. You can't put Levi Wallace out there again. And then your options are Damarri Mathis and Kris Abrams-Draine. And last week, I think the Broncos and the defensive staff showed us who they trust more right now. Damarri Mathis, despite being more veteran than Kris Abrams-Draine, only played in 4 defensive snaps, where Kris Abrams-Draine played in 12 defensive snaps, being a rookie, making his NFL debut. So I think that's what they should do, and I think that's what they will do. But with Kris, especially because the Colts, when they throw the ball, they just try to go deep every single time, seemingly. You just got to make sure that he always has that safety help.
So I think that plan makes sense that you guys are bringing up, but I think there's also a reason why they didn't do that last week. Jaquan is way better than Levi Wallace, and he was before this last week. Why didn't they make that move last week? Seems like an easy fix.
In game, that's tough.
No, I'm saying before the game. That's an easy fix. If you know Riley's out, make that move because that's an easy fix. But I think it's hard for Jaquan to play on the outside. I'm not saying that he can't do it, but then in the preseason, I just don't feel like that was his groove. Like he is a slot corner.
Yeah, we saw it week 6 when Pat was out. They put Jaquan on the boundary, and he struggled out there. Like it's just tough. In a lot of ways, he has the same limitations as Levi does, which is just the downfield speed. Like that's the big thing. And I think Levi made other mistakes. We talked about he was just late to flip his hips and get downfield on that deep one to Jerry. So I think Jaquan, he's more physical. He's feisty in those short areas, but I do worry about him down the field. And again, that's what you're mostly going to do or mostly going to see from the Colts. So I wouldn't hate it. I would love to see Jaquan get another opportunity out there at some point, and this might be the best chance you get. But it just feels like you got to get some speed out there, unless you're really going to focus on, we're going to play a bunch of the cover 6. We're going to figure out how to get him some help, because otherwise you're just putting him in a situation where he could be exposed.
And I really feel bad for Levi Wallace because I can't think of another game where we were ever attacked like that. Where we got that many deep routes that many times, on purpose.
Yeah.
Even against our best one, they weren't running. No team was running that. So just the one game that they're all right, we're just going to try and take some deep shots no matter what because you're missing your starting corner. He happens to get the start, and so now he's sitting and squatting on all these routes because he's used to what he's seeing on film, how other teams have been attacking us, and now everybody's like, nah, we're just going vertical.
Well, and now you're going up against a team that's going to do the exact same thing because that's, one, what they do, and 2, if the Broncos put Levi Wallace out there, if I'm the Colts, I immediately do that exact same thing. Exactly. Yeah. They don't. They can tell him. Okay.
On site.
On site. But that would mean a fight. See, that doesn't make sense right there. Because they'd be going deep instead. And you cannot do it. Or can you, Todd? Would you make any argument that Levi should be out there again?
No, I'm not making that argument.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think in the red zone, if you wanted to really let Kris Abrams-Draine play downfield, because that's something we talked about before the season. I think on the podcast is like you could, before we knew Riley was going to be good, you could let Riley kind of get the snaps in the middle of the field between the 20s, let Levi take over in the red zone, because that's where he's really good. I mean, he has incredible ball skills. He has incredible senses. He has obviously seen a lot of football, so he reads what's coming well. And if you play him in the red zone, then the speed isn't a factor. Then you're just letting him sit there and pounce and make plays. I could see them going that way, just to kind of lighten the load for either Damarri or for Kris Abrams-Draine, whoever they put out there. But you probably just stick with one guy.
Yeah,
you rarely see that rotation.
I don't like that. I think you just, whoever's out there is out there all game, unless you're doing Jaquan on the outside as well. So it'll be interesting to see how the Broncos do this, because that could be the difference in the game. If the Broncos are able to find out how to just have, you don't need great cornerback play, especially going up against Anthony Richardson, but this is a team that runs deep at receiver. You just can't get killed at that second cornerback position like the Broncos did against the Browns this past week. Just be good enough. You have the best corner in the NFL on the other side. Just be fine. Just be competent. And the Broncos will be okay. You're not playing Joe Burrow. That's when the Broncos really will need Riley Moss, is in a couple of weeks when they're playing Joe Burrow. Henry's disagreeing with me. We'll dive into this, but I want to jump up to the offense. Do you want to get to it really quick?
Yeah. I think the thing with Kris is that somebody brought up in the chat, like his best game last year was against Malik Neighbors, when he just shut Malik Neighbors down. I think that's his strength.
Who are you talking about?
Kris Abrams-Draine.
Okay.
Yeah, the game against LSU, obviously. And that's the one that you look back on and say, like, this is a starting cornerback. And he has, like, the quick twitch, like the ball skills. He's just so small. And that's why he fell in the draft, is because when you're, like, 180 pounds or whatever, it's tough to take on bigger receivers. And this week it's Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce. And when you're going up against those guys that are that big, I worry about the penalties. Just because if they're getting a step on you and you feel like you have to be physical with them, and it's the kind of same thing with Damarri, just because the penalties were kind of the issue for him too. And last year there were other mistakes, but you're going to have that size disadvantage with either one of those guys, which scares me, because you wind up throwing those jump balls.
So what are you saying? Go with Levi, because he is the bigger of them.
You don't. I don't think you have a choice. You have to go with probably Kris, just see if he can do it. But I think the expectation should be that there probably will be a pass interference call, something like that, just because he's going to have to be so physical to try to compete with those big
Well, he's going to
guys.
get a lot of targets regardless.
Yeah.
They're going to test him, one, because he's across from Pastor 10, two, because you're not the starter.
Yep.
You're not the backup. You're the backup's backup.
Yep.
So we really got to see if he can play, even though he's talented and he's a rookie. They're going to see what he can do regardless. So I think, he's quick enough, agile enough, and tall enough to hang with these guys. It just doesn't have to get into like a shoving match. Just blanket them. You know what I'm saying? Don't feel like you have to over physical anybody. Just be sticky.
Also, again, I'm not asking for even good cornerback play from the opposite side, because I understand you're putting in a guy that hasn't played a lot, or that's a rookie making his second game in the NFL. But what you can't have is disastrous, and that's unfortunately what Levi Wallace was last week. I mean, midway through the game, he had given up 5 catches for 137 yards. You can't have that. If you're going to have 2 pass interference penalties, sure, I would sign up for that right now. Do I want that? No, but it's better than what that was last week. You have to go a different direction. And again, the good thing is Broncos coaches had 2 weeks to identify this and work on it. And we actually talked to Sean yesterday about this. Kale, do we have that audio?
Exporting right now.
Exporting right now. Okay, because Sean was asked 2 questions about this, and I want to hit this audio because he was asked about what happened in the pass defense, because Broncos, great secondary, good pass rush, great pass rush, best pass rush in the NFL, most sacks going into that game and coming out of that game. But they were shredded. I mean, there's that stat going around that Jameis Winston, including the interceptions and the yards at the interceptions, no one had more passing yards in NFL history than he did. Now, of course, Broncos get some credit for that with the interceptions and the pick sixes, but they also gave up almost 500 passing yards to Jameis Winston. What happened in this game. So Sean was asked about that, and I think he pointed to something that's very intentional and a point that the Broncos are making internally. And then he was asked about Kris Abrams-Draine, and I want to see if you guys think that this is a sign of confidence that he will be the guy if Riley can't play, or not as confident in him. Let me know when we have that audio here, Kale. It's ready to go. Let's hit the first one on Sean talking about the pass defense letdown against the Browns.
Obviously, there's things when the game ends that you look back on and say, hey, we would have done this differently. And, you know, it's finding a way to get your best players against, you know, their top receiver. But there were a handful of things, not just on defense, but in all three phases that we would have done differently. And we got to learn from that.
Against their best receiver. And after the game, he talked about it, and we talked about it on the show after. He said the Browns were just able to put Jerry Jeudy in motion, and because of the way the Broncos defense was set up, they were able to get Pat off of Jerry, and he says we cannot let that be that easy moving forward. This week, I don't think it's as big of a deal because I think that the Colts are really more of, they got three wide receivers that they count on pretty much as equally as one another, even though they have one big name in Pittman. But really, there's three guys, so I don't think it's going to be that much of a priority this week. And then, so if it is Kris Abrams-Draine, let's hear what Sean had to say about Kris Abrams-Draine getting his first NFL action against the Browns.
Good. He's smart. He's got a savviness to him. I think, you know, he's getting stronger physically. And I thought he handled his role Monday night, you know, going in there and playing. I thought he had a pretty good game in the kicking game. That's important. So overall, I was pleased.
Do you think Sean's pleased enough where Kris is the guy if 21 can't play?
I think so. I think you give him a shot, and I think, you know, him even mentioning the kicking game, that means that he's looking at you're looking at everything you're doing. Like, you're always being evaluated as a player. It's like, even if you go out there and have good snaps on defense, but you were slacking or not giving effort on special teams, like, all that matters. But if he's playing, you know, well, and kind of like the two phases he's given opportunities in, I think you just keep giving the kid more opportunities to see what he can do.
No, yeah, and I'm really excited about, like, the things that he does. Like, the way that he plays the ball is rare. Like, he is really, really good at that. It's just the size thing, and this is a tough week for him to be making his starting debut if he does, because he's 5'11" and 178 pounds. That's what he's listed at, which means Alec Pierce, who's our leading receiver, is 4 inches and 33 pounds bigger. Michael Pittman is 5 inches and 45 pounds bigger.
Whoa. Pause,
okay,
please.
big pause. Yeah, we'll take a pause real quick.
Taller.
And then,
He's
tall.
taller.
5 inches and 45 pounds. Like
45 pounds?
Oh boy, that'd be crazy. 5 inches and 45 pounds. Like, that's a big size difference. So yeah, I think that he can compete, and I'm excited for him, and I think things are gonna go well. But 5 inches and 45 pounds is a lot to give up. So I'm curious what that actually looks like on the football field.
Yeah, well, we'll see. And again, that's why I think you just really got to give him safety help. Let's, speaking of the Colts, jump in to the Colts film with a special inside scoop after we give a shout out to our friends over at Game Time, where if you're going to go down to Empower Field for this Broncos-Colts game, you got to check out our friends over at Game Time. And they have so many awesome features. Kale right now has the interface of Game Time on the screen right now. You get to see where your seats are. You get to see the view from your seats. And they've got Game Time Picks, which is another awesome feature that filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. If you pull up other ticket apps, you're just overwhelmed because there's pretty much a ticket for sale in every single row, and there's just thousands that you have to look through. Game Time Picks filters out all of those to give you the best seats with the best deals and prices. We all use Game Time here, whether it's concerts, whether it's Broncos games, whether it's Rockies games, Nuggets games, Avs games, anything. And you can use it as well over at Game Time. And you're going to get $20 off by using the code DNVR. Once you need to create an account, download the Game Time app. Use that code DNVR to get $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time.
That
Beautiful.
was a good one. Yeah. Also, want to give a shout out to our friends at Circle K. I should have gone to Circle K. I didn't. I went to the grocery store this morning for my Celsius and this big thing of water. Probably paid a lot more than if I had gone to Circle K, and especially paid a lot more than if I was in the Circle K, where is it? The Inner Circle. There it is, the Inner Circle. The Inner Circle's awesome. They give you all sorts of different discounts. It's a free membership. It's easy to download. You just give them your email, give them your phone number, and you're enrolled. And then you just got to punch in your phone number whenever you check out. So you can get 25 cents off per gallon on your next 5 fill-ups. There's deals every day on food and drinks and more. They have offers in there. So if you just go to the app, you go to Inner Circle, click on the offers, and you'll see all the options you have. You can download the Circle K app, sign up for the Inner Circle, and get those exclusive offers. Remember, new offers and purchase clubs and sweepstakes are uploaded weekly, so make sure you're staying up to date with Circle K and the Inner Circle membership.
And shout out to Bet365, our presenting sponsor, and shout out to you, everyone that's tuning in with us. We really appreciate it, especially as the Broncos ramp up for a playoff run. Hit us with a thumbs up if you're tuning in with us. Make sure you're tuning in with us every single day. On a normal week, we do this Monday through Thursday. Mondays at 11 a.m. Then the rest of the week is at 10 a.m. And then, of course, we got our pregame show with Todd, the tailgate. And then, of course, after every single game, we're rocking and rolling with you live on YouTube. Of course, anywhere you find podcasts as well. And now we're on TV, which is really cool. So if you're tuning in with us on TV, we really appreciate it. And just thank everyone for rocking and rolling with us. And the Broncos, guys, in the next 12 days, they can have 2 more wins, which is just insane. A week from Thursday, the Broncos play the Chargers in Los Angeles. This season, I mean, can really flip in these next couple of days, which is so cool. And again, it's really cool that all of you are rocking and rolling with us as we get this set up for Todd to do the inside scoop, as we're doing the final touches behind the scenes. Want to ask you guys, did you see the report that Bill Belichick has told North Carolina that he is willing to be their coach if they meet all of his demands?
What do you think the demands are?
Well, apparently there was a 400-page Bible that he submitted, quote-unquote Bible, that he submitted to UNC, laying out everything he would want in order to accept this job. And if they accept all 400 pages, he will accept that job. It includes 2 coaching staffs, one for actually coaching, one for recruiting. There was also something in there that his son has to be the next coach of UNC after he is the coach. It also includes so many monetary demands, which I'm sure a lot of those are like, hey, $20 million a year for me. Plus, I'm sure there's a lot of NIL commitments there. So pretty much he's asking for the world, and then he'll become UNC's head coach.
Dang, 400 pages is a lot.
Yes.
That's way too much stuff. I do like, dad's looking out for their son, though, so why not make my son the coach after? Like, solidify it, you know what I'm saying? There's no way you're getting out of this. 400 pages, I mean, even that, what we just talked about is a lot. That's like a page and a half. You know what I'm saying?
The thing is, I think it's like his whole like vision for North Carolina, and here's the step-by-step, here's what we're doing here, here's what we're doing there. Like, I don't know how exactly that's 400 pages still. I remember talking to Mel Tucker. It was actually like a month before he left, and he was talking about like his whole job interview process. He like took us all out for lunch, which was really cool. But like the different things that he had set up, and he had like these 3 different, they're like briefcases they're like boxes, but basically briefcases they brought with them, and they're all packed with the plans for offense and the defensive playbook and all those sorts of things. So I don't know, it's a lot, but I'm not surprised that it's 400 pages.
Yeah, and pretty much reading this from Ollie Connolly, who broke the news, it pretty much seems like, there is a lot of like football stuff, but also it's just like, if you're willing to accept all of these terms, I'll become your coach. So it's going to be interesting to see if Belichick is in college instead of the NFL. We have to do it if you can get all the resources and the money.
I bet with Belichick there you could. Like, it's the same thing when Dion came here.
You just sign him and find the money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like when.
But the thing is it's not. There's not an owner of UNC.
Oh yeah.
that can just sign off on that. It's about, like, he is also reporting that there's been pushback from the group of trustees that make these final decisions.
We're here too for Dion. They said you can't be doing that.
Certainly.
But the thing is, like, so people were asking the athletic director at CU, like, when they first hired Dion, like, how are you going to afford this?
And they said, we'll find it.
We're going to sell out our season tickets.
Yeah.
We're going to make all this money through the merchandise. And so, like, that's why right now everybody thinks, like, CU's rich, like, they're raking in the cash, and they are bringing in a lot of money. The thing is, they'd already committed all that money to Dion and his expensive staff and all that sort of stuff.
I'm sure they make it more than they committed.
It was a good deal for them, for sure.
So it's going to be interesting to follow that storyline. But that's for the offseason. Let's dive into this game. And Todd, let's jump into a special edition of the Inside Scoop, looking at how the Broncos can beat the Colts.
All right, so I did a little bit of a film breakdown, the Colts versus the Patriots, and there were some good things the Patriots did on film that I felt like the Broncos could redo or even do better. Right here, this is the Colts playing defense, and what you'll see is that sometimes when you get like big personnel, big personnel. Oh, okay, it's a little different this time. Let me go back. Okay, how do I get it to right?
I'm back up. I'm sorry.
You're good.
It should all be in the order that you sent me them.
No, it's in the order. I'm just trying to get it to right.
Oh, I do not know how to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll make it shake. All right, so if you look at the right side, dang, there's no way to write on here. Okay, if you look on the right side, they're in like 12 personnel, so that's a bigger personnel than what you would call like your nickel, which is 11, which is one tight end, 3 receivers, and then you have the running back in the game. So when they get into like 12 personnel, which is bigger personnel, they don't always go to like a base, which is a 5-man front. Sometimes they stay in their nickel package, which is a 4-man front, 2 linebackers, and they keep the safeties in the game. If they do that, I think that gives us a good opportunity to get a hat on a hat in the box, but also allows our tight ends to work up to the safeties quickly and create some big running lanes. So if you see right here, they're kind of running like a trap. They're blocking down. The O-linemen are getting up on the linebackers very quickly. But the best block that I like is these 2 tight ends right here on the safety, number 20. And what they're able to do is they're able to take number 20 and run him all the way down and take out the linebacker and then create this big lane where nobody is able to come and flow to the front side of the play. I mean, you got 265 pounds with our tight ends versus 190. I'll take that matchup every time. And what that does is it leaves the running back on the corners one-on-one. And with all our corners, with all our running backs, whether it's Estimates, Javonte, even Jaleel, I picked them to be able to make somebody miss or break a tackle with a corner one-on-one. And this leads to a big play by the Patriots. And it's all because they chose to stay in their nickel personnel. And it's a favorable matchup for us to have our tight ends blocking safeties instead of trying to block linebackers or outside rushers.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you're looking for. And this is something that you can tell Sean Payton's going to be looking at.
Yeah, for sure. You got to take advantage of the things that they give you. So this is a way that I feel like they could, try to defend us or try to, beat us. So they do have 5 down, which is the Broncos will run a lot in their base personnel. They have 3 D linemen and 2 outside linebackers. That's our base personnel. And right now they're in 12 personnel. But what they're going to do with our pass rushers is they're going to try to make them think right here. So right now they love to pull Quentin Nelson, and he does a good job coming around and creating space when he pulls. But what you get is a double team on the front side, a block back, and then you get Quentin Nelson pulling up on the linebacker or safety. This double team is working to the backside linebacker, and they're going to try to make Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper slow their feet. They're going to make them think. And in this game, you really have to, because Taylor is a talented running back, but also their quarterback is very talented when he gets his, gets the ball in his hands. So they did a great job of, not handing the ball off. It's a one-on-one with the outside linebacker. He actually makes this guy miss, and he's able to get to the sideline. So for us, we have to be really diligent in doing our job, playing things slow before we go, because as an outside linebacker, you have a responsibility either to the quarterback or the running back, but there's no reason why you can't play it slowly, know where the ball is handed off, and then help your teammates if it goes to opposite of your responsibility.
And we've talked about how Nick Bonito is 10 sacks in the last 10 games, and he's just on an absolute tear. if he goes out and doesn't have a sack this game, that might not be because he had a bad game. It might be because he's told, look, we can't get beat in the run game, so you got to focus on that first, and then the pass game comes second, rushing the passer comes second. So this is going to be an interesting game when it comes to the stats. Broncos lead the NFL in sacks this week, or this year right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos do intentionally slow those outside linebackers down and just say, man, we can't get beat on the ground, so make sure that's your number one responsibility.
It seems like that would help you contain, too.
Yeah.
Like with a mobile quarterback like Anthony Richardson, we're committing to that assignment. It's easier to keep him in the pocket.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is just like have your best pass rush move, and now you're too far upfield, and you're creating lanes in between Nick Bonito and Allen, and now he can escape. You don't want him escaping the pocket. You want everybody rushing together so that it creates a tight pocket that he can't get out of.
Yep.
All right. Next play. Sorry I can't write on here for you guys. I think it would be helpful, but
It's inexcusable.
I know. I got to be better. So when they get into the red zone, that's when like all their tricks and gadgets start to come out. And what you'll see is that they like to do things very fast and get to empty very quickly. So you can see they're talking. If you look at the defense, a lot of them are still talking because as soon as they broke the huddle, they're ready to snap the ball. They got to empty very quickly, and they're running these mesh routes, which is, crossers coming across the formation to create confusion when you're in man coverage. Well, for the Broncos, I feel like it'd be a really good time to, as soon as they break the huddle and go to empty, we have an empty check that puts everybody in cover 4, cover 3, and pass off all these routes. Because not only do they pass the ball out of empty, they run the ball very well. But if you get into a cover 3, you can still stop the run. You can still have a safety down, but you're not worried about trying to figure out where Jonathan Taylor is versus all three of these, pass catchers and the one coming from the backside. It makes it very tough, and they do it very quickly coming out the huddle. That's why he's so wide open. They weren't lined up. They weren't ready because it's like as soon as they break the huddle, first down, the ball is snapping, and they're running their play.
How often does that happen, Todd, where you have in specific game plans that check, where if someone's in empty, you're immediately going to that check?
Probably say at least half the year when you have like real threats at different positions, like at running back, at tight end. Like there's certain matchups that we don't want. Yeah. So if they get to empty, we know they're throwing the football and they're going to try to take advantage of one of these matchups. We're going to make an empty check. We're going to get to our assignment, and we're just going to live another day.
So this isn't a difficult or a confusing thing for the defense?
No, it's really easy to see. All right, so this is, one thing that I feel like we have to be cognizant of as a defense, because they like to run this trap play right here, and the trap means the guard is pulling and then trapping this tackle. So what's different about that is normally when the guard pulls, I can't write on this, your gap moves over. So you would move from having an A gap, now you have to move to the B gap because they're creating new gaps from the backside, so you have to move to be able to get to a new gap. Well, the thing about a trap is it looks the same visually, but to you, your gaps change. So instead of going back 53 and 48, if he was pulling normally, they want to go back to find their new gap. But because they're running a trap, they actually have to go front side to get their new gap. So they would actually have to go to the new A and then to the new C instead of actually going back. So this could be a very confusing play if you're not able to see it very quickly, because he needs, a foot of space to be able to just squirt through one of these gaps, pause, and then he's able to hit his head on the goalpost. And it's a really tough play if you're too worried about them pulling Quentin Nelson all game, which is what they like to do.
Is Quentin Nelson as good as he was hyped up to be before the draft?
The first couple of years, I feel like he was really good. I feel like, he's kind of settled down, and now he's just a solid guard. I wouldn't say he's like all world, like our big fella is, but he's solid.
Yeah.
So is this the best guard, just off the top of your head, like one of the best challenges that Zach Allen and the interior defensive line is going to face?
Yeah, I think he's very agile. He's not stiff. Like he knows how to, bend corners. They like to pull him a lot. They like to get him out in space. He's able to block, linebackers and also D linemen. He's very agile for being, the size that he is.
Yeah.
All right, this is, another thing to remember. I talked to you about the red zone. Like the red zone, they get to empty very quickly, and a play is coming and a play is happening. So you need to be able to get into plays that make sense. So unfortunately, the Patriots here, they're in man, they stay in man, and what happens is you get the linebacker all the way out on Taylor, but it makes you weaker on the inside because now you have DBs, one linebacker, but it's mostly DBs and D linemen in the middle, and now Richardson is just going to run for the touchdown.
Yep.
So you got to be able to make that empty check. So we're good against the run. We keep our linebackers in the box. And then also against the pass, we can handle all the crosses. We can handle all the mesh routes. And we can be solid on both.
Man, it's such a good point. I didn't know what this play was going to be. And I knew just looking at the formation, this is exactly what they're going to try to do here is just power Anthony Richardson up the middle. Because what is it, the biggest quarterback in the NFL, and it might not even be close. 6'6", 6'5", 260 pounds or something crazy. I mean, I totally understand why you'd spread everyone out than just push him right up the middle.
Yeah, and
was that the 2-point conversion?
He's solid. No, I think this is a touchdown.
Okay, because they did it again for the 2-point conversion at the end to win it too.
Yeah, this was the touchdown.
Okay, which is
mid-game.
But this is like the Josh Allen stuff. This is what made early Josh Allen still tough to defend, even when like it was similar to Anthony Richardson, he couldn't complete a pass. But you empty it out and you can just run the ball up the middle. But when he does, he leads the NFL in yards for completion. And so it's that same like he isn't well rounded. In a lot of ways, it's like old school football.
Yeah,
where it's just like you're chucking it deep or you're taking advantage of the run up the middle. It just the Broncos haven't seen anything like this year. Like it's just a weird combination because maybe only Josh Allen is comparable, and he's added so much else to his game that it's there's some other differences.
Yeah,
but this whole like third downs, you just go empty and.
Yeah, because truly, when you playing a normal quarterback, it's essentially like 11 on 10 because the quarterback is just the operator. He's going to throw the ball, he's going to get the ball out of his hands, or he's going to hand the ball off. He's not actually another player you have to account for. When they add another player, that allows them to have another lead blocker if it's going to be a running back, allows them to create more matchups because now it's truly 11 on 11, but most of the time our 11th player is a deep safety. So for him to get there to help, to be able to tackle a lot of these plays, he's so deep, it really creates, a mismatch for, a running quarterback.
Yeah.
All right, this is something I feel like our offense can do. Once again, I talked about how we can get in big personnel and they're going to stay in nickel. Well, if they stay in nickel, sometimes they have this nickel corner come in the game. He's the guy with the long hair right here. And because they're not getting in base personnel, it allows for one-on-one matchups on the front line and double teams be able to work to linebackers. But it also allows for you to get ours would be Burton, your fullback one-on-one with a nickel corner, which – you think about Burton versus Jaquan, those are two totally different players, and you don't really want them going head-to-head when you talk about the running game.
Yeah, from an offensive standpoint, you sign up for that every single time.
Exactly. So this is just a lead week. So you got a double team working here, the running back's getting the ball, and literally you have the fullback one-on-one with somebody that he easily has 50 pounds on, and you got the linemen working to the next level. So now your linebackers are fighting off O-linemen all game long. I feel like plays like this will be really beneficial to the Broncos because there's just seams. There's just a lot of seams because you get favorable matchups across the board, and it allows for them to take advantage of it and make big plays. So I think this will be another good play that the Broncos could run against this defense when they don't choose to go with their bigger personnel. When we get in 12, 21, which is 2 running backs, 1 tight end, we get in some of our bigger personnels, there are ways for us to really make plays in this game.
Yeah, I mean, just on that very initial setup of the play, that should be an automatic check to a run just like that.
Exactly. And the thing about it is they're doing it to be versatile and really defend against the pass. Well, every time you do that, we'll just get in, we'll just run the ball. And then when you go to your big personnel, okay, now we're going to check to a pass and see what your linebackers can do in space against our smaller receivers.
Yep, I love it. And Todd, let's pause right there so I can give a shout out to our friends. And guess where I'm going to go to? I'm going to go right here. Our friends at DNVR and our events.
Wow.
Make sure to check out everything we've got going on, including our tailgates. Man, we're about to host our first playoff tailgate potentially ever if the Broncos get a home game somehow this playoffs, but you don't have to wait till the playoffs to attend one of our tailgates. We've got it going this week. We're going to be hosting one before the Broncos Colts game, and of course it's the best location of a tailgate that you can have. You get the view of the city with the stadium, and it's just like a 2-minute walk to the doors of the stadium. So if you're going to be at the game, you want to join us where we've got Primo Hoagies, Breck Brew, Breck Distillery, games, the best view that you're going to have of any tailgate. And the way to get your tickets is go to thednvr.com/events to make sure that you get your tickets. And you can even start early with a party bus from the DNVR bar to get there. We have so many other events going on, from Nuggets, Avs, Rockies, that if you want to get in, check us out over at thednvr.com/events.
Also check out Empire because they have the best floors. So if you need something new to be walking around on, that's the place to go. Yeah, I mean, floors for kitchens, floors for living rooms, floors for bathrooms. I saw somebody on Reddit posted there was somebody made a sauna with carpet.
That doesn't sound
no, because it get all
smart.
soggy
Yeah.
and stuff. So, but if they had gone to Empire would have said, no, don't do that. That's really stupid. Empire is great for a bunch of different reasons. They have their virtual floor designer, so you can see what different floors look like in your space. You can also just get somebody to go out there and check it out for free with a free in-home estimate. Plus, all listeners can receive $350 off when they use the promo code DNVR. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com or empiretoday.com/DNVR for details.
And shout out to presenting sponsor Bet365. Use that code DNVR365 when you sign up. And shout out to Todd. Let's dive back into the inside scoop.
All right, this is the last play I got for us. You're getting a single high look. The safety on the weak side is coming down. And when they walk their safety down, they really like to run man-to-man concepts, which is like, we call it hole, which is everybody has a man and there's one player in the hole in the middle of the field that can help on crosser routes, or they like to run cover 3 concepts. So if they're in cover 3, the right side of the or the left side of the field, as you look at it, there's a lot of opportunity for us to work these like bunch concepts because both their linebackers are told to give help to the inside receivers on both sides. So as the linebackers expand, what happens is if you're able to occupy, the linebacker with cheese in the middle, you're able to work wide receivers or other route runners right in behind the linebacker to make plays. And this other linebacker, because he's told to get with to protect on the right side, he doesn't have the ability to get with and then also come back to the football to be able to help on this pass. And it ends up being a completion right down the middle of the field. But if this is what they want to run and how they want to play us, I think this will be a good way to attack the backside of their defense.
I love that. And something else that I love when you said they like to match up just one-on-one man, that says Courtland Sutton to me.
Up top.
Just throw the ball to him and maybe even audible to a couple of those or hot route to Courtland on some of those because, they said it after the Broncos game or after the Raiders game. They said it after the Browns game. Man, if you're going to leave Courtland in those opportunities, we're going to capitalize on that and just keep going to him. So I really like that. You wonder if the Colts will change and not do that as much, especially in this game. They're going up against the Patriots. The Patriots don't like their receivers so much that reports are already coming out that they're going to give T. Higgins the moon or something, more than the moon in order to get him in free agency. You don't hear any reports coming out from Denver about that because they have their guy in Courtland Sutton. They might add a piece or two here or there, but so maybe the Colts did this a little bit more in this game because the Patriots don't have a receiver like Courtland, but if they give those looks, man, I'm taking advantage of that all day.
100%.
And that is the inside scoop. Love it as always, Todd. And if you liked it, hit us with a thumbs up. We really appreciate it. A lot of comments saying how much you guys love the inside scoop. Well, show Todd, give us a thumbs up to show support for the inside scoop. I want to get into one more conversation. What should the Broncos do with the running back position? But before we do that, I want to remind you all to subscribe, hit us with the thumbs up, and let's hit a super chat that we've got from our friend Brandon Brewer, who says, I wasn't watching live yesterday, but y'all completely missed that Broncos fans want the Chiefs in the playoffs for the narrative. Stopping the three-peat ourselves would be the ultimate catharsis. There, yeah, thank you. Here's the thing, and where I stand with this, Brandon, because I'm obviously was the one to put the brakes on, like, begging for the Chiefs to play them in the playoffs.
This is the one that was scared.
What?
You can say you were scared.
No, not scared. I
Just
said
a
I'm
little
not
scared.
I said I'm not scared to play them, but why would you want a team that it doesn't look good, but all they do is win? Because in the playoffs, it's not about, man, it was a close lost by 2 points. No, it's about winning the freaking game and moving on to the next round. Would it be awesome to play the Chiefs and beat them for the narrative? Of course it would be, but it would be cooler to win the game and move further in the playoffs. That's why people are like, oh man, the Nuggets got some crap a couple of years ago for having the quote-unquote easiest path to the championship. I don't give a crap about that. They won the championship. Give me
I've
the
got 5
easiest.
shirts.
You do have 5 shirts. Give me the easiest path to a championship, and that I don't think is going up against a team that they don't seem very good, but all they do is win. So I don't know. That's where I stand. We kind of debated it yesterday.
Yeah, they're not scary. I mean, as a playoff team, like compared to like the average NFL team, sure, but like Broncos have played them tough before. They beat them last time.
They didn't beat them last time.
Or sorry, last year is what I meant. Like you can, I'd rather see them than some other teams.
Yeah, no, but just give me the teams that don't do it in the playoffs. The Bills, maybe even the Ravens. Yeah. Okay, let's dive into the offensive side of this. Guys, what do we think about what the Broncos should do with the running back position? We only have a couple of minutes, but last week we saw Jaleel maybe have his breakout game. What should the Broncos do? What should Sean Payton do in these final 4 weeks coming after the bye?
I think you should give Jaleel more touches. I don't think he's done anything to not receive touches all year long. I think he's been consistent. He's been the person that when they need to play in the red zone, they're going to find a way to get him on the ball on some of those swing routes and different plays they were utilizing him, different ways they were utilizing him early in the season. He's been a good running back. His job kind of got taken away when you put Marvin Mims in the backfield and he starts doing some of the things that Jaleel would have done. I don't see why you don't just make Jaleel the starter and, give him every opportunity. I mean, you still have a rotation because you're going to need, downhill runners, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. You still want to, make people fear what you can do in the power running game. But he should definitely get more touches this week.
I was surprised we haven't seen more of Audric Estime after that Chiefs game. Because I know the numbers weren't great. It was like 3.5 yards per carry or whatever. But we all saw what he did. Like, especially that final drive when you chew clock, you grind your way down the field. Like, it's not great for your average, but he did what needed to be done. To me, you have 1 month to figure out what your best rotation is, what your best use for these guys is before you have to try to, you have to try to win a playoff game. So I would say you keep Marvin doing his thing, which is whatever, 5 plays a game where he's in the backfield doing whatever. And the rest of the snaps, the rest of the touches, I'd split evenly among the 3.
You're crazy.
I've seen the different things they do well. Because I think even Javonte in the last game, he didn't get the most touches, but he did have the most snaps consistently because of the pass protection, because of those other things. And I think that you should still keep all 3 on the field, rotate, and let it kind of play out.
And I don't think that's what Sean's going to do. Sean has constantly said in his 2 years in Denver that he can't, in his offense, do 3-back system. He says it's 2 backs, and I think it's going to be Jaleel, and I think it's going to be Audric, and I think it should be led by Jaleel, with Audric being the guy that's running downhill. We're running out of time here, but Javonte has had the most opportunities of anyone this season, and he has 4 good games. And when I say good games, I mean running for more than 4 yards per carry. Every other game has been under 4 yards per carry, including the past month. He has 1 rush for 1 yard 4 weeks ago. He has 9 rushes for 59 yards and a touchdown, 6.6 yards per carry. I'll give him credit in the world for that. Then he had 8 carries for -2 yards 2 weeks ago and 4 carries for 1 yard last week. He's not the hot hand. And if the Broncos want to go with the hot hand approach, he's not it. Let's go with Jaleel. Let's go with Audric. Javonte's got his opportunities, and they just haven't really panned out. That's going to do it. Maybe we'll have more of this conversation flow into tomorrow as well. But we really appreciate everyone rocking and rolling with us today. We're going to have Brian Baldinger on tomorrow, and we're going to dive even deeper into the Colts offense, defense, continue what Todd had on the Inside Scoop today. Thank you all. We'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m.
We all silly like the mayor.